Hi, here is a screen share so you can see how to use the Chinese website. So there are 4 links that I share here. One for the reading section, the listening section, the speaking section, the writing section. So let me show you first of all the the reading section. So this loads. And you don't need to sign up for an account. I do have the Google Translate here. It mainly just translates a couple of the menus, but mainly what I need is over here for these tests. So for example, if I click on Official 54 Passage 1, I'm going to right click, open that in a new tab. I will be able to see the text here on the right hand side. I can scroll up and down here. The questions, I can go through them from 1 to 14. So this is the previous version of the test before 2019. As of 2019, the reading passages have 10 questions per text. As you go through them, just check your answers when you click on this link on the left. That will give you the answer. So for example, the word durable, which is here in the text where it says durable and strong, this means that it lasts a long time. So that answer is B, and I check that, and here is the answer. So you can go ahead and do that for the rest of these ones. And then go back and do passage 2, passage 3, and this test has 54 of these tests. So overall, that's about over 150 reading passages that you can practice with. Okay. Next is the listening section. So previously on the test, there were 6 audio files. That was 4 lectures, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 conversations. Now on the current test, there are just 3 lectures and 2 conversations. They have left the additional lecture. That's just extra practice that you can go through. So on here, open this in a new tab. I would not look at the questions or the text first, because on the actual experience you would not have any of that first. You would just have the audio. So you might want to put a piece of paper on your screen or try using this thing that says hide text. Sometimes that does cause an issue. Yeah, here I think it's causing an issue, an unexpected error. Otherwise, just put a piece of paper on your screen so you can cover that up so you're not looking at that, or turn away. Don't look at the screen while you're taking notes. So here you have the audio file, and here you have the questions. Now, sometimes these questions, it's not programmed correctly, because on the listening section, there are some questions that require 2 answers. So when you go to look at the answer, there might be 2 choices. That is a possibility. On the actual test, it would say select 2. So unfortunately, that is a problem with this website. However, they are giving you 54 practice tests to work on, and you can go through these 1 through 5, and then where it says show answer on the left. Okay. On the speaking section, again, there are 54 practice tests. The current test only has 4 questions. It used to have 6. This website has eliminated the 2 questions that are no longer on the test. So these ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the ones that would be on the test. So if you open that, for example, here, some people say that childhood is the best time in a person's life. Other people disagree. What is your opinion? Explain why. So this doesn't give you the timers. It doesn't tell you that you have 15 seconds to look at this and then 45 seconds to speak. You need to be aware of those timings. When you're ready to make a recording, I would recommend either Vocaroo, so Vocaroo.com. You may need to authorize your microphone or webcam the first time you use this. But if I test this, 1, 2, 3, there's a timer. Then I can click save and share. So if I can get this link, I can also click these two little boxes, and that says copied. If you can send me this link and tell me what question you're answering, I can listen to this link for that. If this website does not work, there's also one called SpeakPipe voice recorder. This is a very similar web app that that allows for recording yourself and then getting a link. So here, for example, test 1, 2, 3, stop, and then get a link. I could put my name and then get a link. So here's this link that you can send to me. You can copy that and send that. So for the speaking section, you can go through these 4 speaking tasks. For tasks 2 and 3, you have the text on the screen. You would read that for 45 seconds and take notes. And then you would stop looking at that, and then you would have the audio, the conversation. Then after the conversation, you would see the question that says, like, the man expresses his opinion. Now, you wouldn't see this question before you listen to the conversation. That would happen afterwards. And for the task 3, very similar. You would have a text on the screen for about 45, 50 seconds. Then you have the lecture from the professor. Then you would have the question that says, explain how the example discussed with the professor illustrates a system thinking approach to problem solving. You would have 30 seconds to go through your notes and prepare, and then 60 seconds to speak. And then this last one, the question number 4, you have the lecture. There's no text beforehand. And then afterwards, you have a question using points and examples from the lecture. Explain what animals' 24-hour activity cycle determines. Here, you would have 20 seconds to prepare and go through your notes and 60 seconds to speak. This is a little bit more challenging because you've got 2 minutes of audio from the lecture. You need to paraphrase and summarize the main points with just the 60 seconds. And lastly on here is the writing section. So there are the 2 tasks. The first one, again, there are 54 practice tests. So the first task, the integrated essay. This one, they give you a text to read on the screen for 3 minutes and take notes. You don't have to do exhaustive notes because this text will be on the screen when you're writing your essay. Afterwards, after 3 minutes, then you can listen to a lecture for about 2.5 minutes. After you listen to the lecture, the text will come back on the screen on the actual test, and you will have this question that says, summarize the points made in the lecture. Be sure to explain how they cast doubt on the specific solutions proposed in the reading passage. Then you would turn on a timer for 20 minutes and start writing your essay. Don't use any tools like grammar check or spell check. You would not have access to those tools on the actual test. And try to respect the 20-minute timer. Afterwards, the task 2, this one you have 30 minutes to write about this question. So, for example, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Governments should spend more money in support of the arts than in support of athletics, such as state-sponsored Olympic teams. Use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. This one you would have 30 minutes. The minimum is 300 words. Again, don't use any tools like grammar check or spell check. And if you need some help with the templates, I would recommend this website, TOEFLresources.com. In where it says writing section, there is a guide for the integrated writing task, and there's also a guide here for the independent. So the integrated explains that you'll read this text like I just explained, that there's a text that's on the screen for about 3 minutes, and then you'll have the lecture, and the minimum is 300 words to write, and the recommendation is probably about 300 words. I mean, for the integrated one, about 280, 300. I sometimes recommend like 250 to 300 is possible as well. And then down here, you can see how you can set up your introduction. What is the reading the lecture about? What's the author's opinion? How does the professor in the lecture respond? What's the professor's position? And then in the body paragraphs, you can go through a similar style here of what is the author's position, what's the supporting information that is in the text, what's the reaction from the professor, what does the professor say, what supporting information does the professor use. So this is one template that you can use. You don't need a conclusion. And for the independent one, you're looking at about 4 paragraphs. You can use a simple introduction like this, and then getting into the paragraphs, the body paragraphs, with a topic sentence, explaining yourself, clarifying the point that you're trying to make, using a personal experience or using an anecdote to illustrate your point. So this is a kind of a paragraph style that you could use. And you can do that 2 times for the body paragraphs and then get to a conclusion that is pretty short. It doesn't have to be too long for this. Okay. And that should be done within 30 minutes. Make sure to proofread and check your writing. So don't just write to the entire 30 minutes. Do try to stop before the timer runs out so that you can check your work. So overall, this exam, it's about 3.5 hours, about 54 minutes for the reading section, about 45 minutes for the listening section, 20 minutes or so for the speaking section after a 10-minute break, and then about 50 minutes or so for the writing. So there's 3 minutes to read, 2 minutes for the professor's lecture, that's about 5 minutes, and you got 20 minutes to write. And then you got 30 minutes for writing the independent task. So this should get you started for some of these main links that I share.